From KTTC, your weather authority, this is KTTC News at 6.
Well, I really wasn't expecting this time of year. It doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem right. We are a week from Christmas, and our area battered by severe weather for hours last night.
6 confirmed tornadoes so far, thousands without power, countless towns coming together to help clean up. Thanks for joining us. And tonight, your KTTC Weather Authority team is surveying the damage from this massive storm.
As we said, there have been at least 3 tornadoes confirmed in our area, and now talks of calling the storm a derecho.
Meteorologist Amanda Morgan will dig into what that means in just a bit. But first, Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen is live in Rudd, Iowa, which is just east of Mason City. Rudd had some of the most extensive damage. And Nick, what are you seeing tonight?
Tom, Caitlin, yeah, Rudd dealing with extensive damage all across the city here, and we're pretty much in the heart of the city. We'll take a look at the library coming up just later in the broadcast with Barrett Leone. I'm standing here in front of a rubble pile. We have some sheet metal, some cinder blocks, and also this pole here, which ironically used to be what was the storm siren, and unfortunately that was ripped away from the tornado, and the rubble piles are just all over the place. Now in Floyd County alone, we've had 3 different confirmed tornadoes, 2 EF1s. That's what ripped through Rudd, potentially upwards of 70 to 110 miles per hour. People were telling me today that it sounded like a freight train. Not only did we deal with the tornadoes and the severe weather today, but members of the community also told me about some of those strong wind gusts that impacted the area and potentially even added to the damage that they experienced here in Floyd County and across southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. Amanda Morgan has a look at some of those wind gusts that we dealt with overnight. Amanda.
All right, thank you, Nick. We will check back in with him in a couple minutes, but here's a look at the storm reports in the past 24 hours all across the region. You see the most common icon on your screen there is that wind gust and that broken tree, which indicates storm damage due to those very strong straight line winds in some place. Here's a look at the strongest wind gust we've seen, 85 miles per hour in Plainview last night. Rochester International, 77 miles per hour. We did see that strength of gusts within a thunderstorm, but also after those storms move out, just after midnight, we saw another gust of 77 miles per hour in Rochester. Many areas across the region saw gusts over 50 miles per hour, and you definitely heard that late last night whipping around your house. Extremely loud winds. Here's what we're looking at in terms of wind speeds and gusts right now. Notice those gusts highlighted in pink. Currently 31 mile per hour gusts in Rochester with sustained winds of about 20. Notice off to the west starting to calm things down. So we will continue to decrease that wind speed as we head overnight tonight. Current temperature is cooling down at 22 in Rochester, 19 in Owatonna and Red Wing, 25 still in Mason City, 27 in Charles City. Current future track radar, quiet clouds continuing to move out. We will stay quiet as we head through the rest of the evening here. Temperatures dropping down into the mid-teens. We will have another look at what Nick is seeing in northeast Iowa and a closer look at what the entire region saw for those storms last night coming up in your full Weather Authority forecast. Tom and Caitlin.
Thanks, Amanda. A heartbreaking update. We have learned the severe weather last night claimed a life near Rochester. According to the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, 65-year-old Keith Dickman was killed around 8 last night when a tree fell on him. He was hit on the head. This happened in the 3500 block of College View Road East. Dickman was found next to his pickup truck. He died at Mayo Clinic, St. Mary's. Our Cami Raisler has been out in the elements from early yesterday, from when the storm hit to now for those cleanup efforts.
And she's live in Byron where some homes and businesses were damaged. And Cami, what are you seeing out there tonight?
Yeah, Tom and Caitlin, we have seen damage throughout the KTTC viewing area. I'm here in Byron at a home in the backyard where you can see a tree has fallen on a shed here in the backyard. Thankfully, no one was injured here. Earlier today, I was in southeast of Rochester, actually, at a farm not far from Iota. Damage there was a bit extensive as well. The Christmas decorations are taking a back seat. Severe weather ripped through this farm southeast of Rochester.
I don't know what our plan is. With the winds came, the first thing I said is I wonder if the barn is still up. And so my wife texted me and he said, nope, it came down.
So cleanup is underway. A strange severe weather cleanup with snow piles in the distance.
Heard some racket outside about 8:30 last night, and we looked outside. heard it was getting bad, so we went down the basement, and after the bad breeze quit, we went upstairs and looked out and seen that the barn was gone. And then it wasn't until after we came outside down by the barn and seen that the machine shed, the whole east end of the machine shed had been taken down.
This barn was filled with hay and woodworking supplies at the time it collapsed. No equipment, animals, or people were hurt. The Niggin farm has been around for more than half a century. Debris fills the yard, but the house was not hit. The machine shed is a different story. Now walking on what used to be a wall.
Yeah, it's mainly my workshop and my tractor shed, so that's what we have in here.
Family and friends are working to pick up the pieces before any snow falls again.
It's going to take just a lot of time. We're going to try and save some of the barn boards if we can.
It's a farming community. They pass by, they stop by, they want to help. So we've had a lot of help so far.
A devastating loss for this longtime farming family, but they know it could have been much worse. And that farmer says he is so thankful for all the help, and again, he's thankful that no one was injured. As for here in Byron, these homeowners say they are waiting for the insurance adjuster. Live in Byron, Cammie Raisler, KTTC News.
All right, Cammie, thank you. And the storm swept through our entire viewing area. Here is some drone video from partners at the Iowa Storm Chasers Network. As you can see, there are trees downed on homes, destroying roofs, leaving some homes completely destroyed. There's a farm that is flattened as well. We have reports of more than 70-mile-an-hour winds, leaving, as you can see, a trail of destruction. Now, the storm also caused mass power outages, impacting thousands of customers.
And as temps continue to get colder tonight, our Carly Petrus is keeping in touch with local utility companies. So, Carly, where are we at tonight with power recovery?
Well, Tom and Caitlin, we've been keeping an eye on this outage map for the last several hours. Right now, according to People's Energy Cooperative in southeast Minnesota, there are still about 2,000 customers without power. Thousands in the Elgin and Plainview area were without power throughout the night and much of the day, but it's now been restored to most customers. Stewartville is seeing the most customers in the dark, at least 1,200 there. Officials say due to the extensive and severe damage to infrastructure in Iowa, those in Stewartville should expect to be without power through at least midday tomorrow.
There are transmission poles that have broken or are laying on the ground south of the Stewartville area, and we are doing all we can and bringing in resources that we can utilize to help with this restoration effort so that we can get power on as quickly as possible and as safely as possible.
The city of Stewartville is opening up Bear Cave Intermediate School after 5 p.m. to anyone seeking shelter. As for here in Rochester, Rochester Public Utilities says roughly 1,000 customers do not have power. No word on when that's expected to be restored. Across state lines, Alliant Energy says there's still just under 20,000 customers without power in the state of Iowa after seeing a peak of about 80,000 last night. Power there is expected to be fully restored by the end of the day tomorrow. The Iowa Association of Electric Cooperatives outage map shows Floyd County has only 4 without power now. Just this afternoon, that number was over 500. At least 20 customers are in the dark in Howard County. And Mitchell and Cerro Gordo counties are each seeing around 100 customers without power. All of that is estimated to be restored by 10 tonight. Tom and Caitlin.
Thanks, Carly. Back now to Iowa. Damage seems to be the worst in Floyd County.
And Governor Kim Reynolds has issued a disaster proclamation there, along with 48 other counties impacted by the severe weather last night. And so that's where we find our Barrett Leone in Iowa. She joins us live from Rudd, where community members have spent much of this day cleaning up. Barrett?
Yeah, that's right, Tom and Caitlin. I'm here in front of the town's library, and as you can see behind me, there is still quite a bit of cleanup left to be done here. Right now, residents are still without water and power, and that's expected to last for a few days. But in the meantime, it's not stopping residents from coming together. it only took minutes.
We headed for the basement, and then it was over.
It was pretty quick.
It was pretty quick, yep.
To create weeks of cleanup.
Yesterday everything was normal, and then today it's not.
Every street you turn in the small town of Rudd, Iowa, unthinkable damage, from downed power lines, a leveled library, to a blown away garage.
I really wasn't expecting this time of year. It doesn't seem right, but, here we are.
But alongside the debris, rubble, and sheets of metal, neighbors helping neighbors.
This is really a really good community. Rudd's awesome. Small as we are, there's a lot of people who actually came out and from all over the area around here, all the surrounding communities came out and helped us out.
Just 10 minutes down the road, more destruction.
I'd take a snowstorm over this any day.
A hog farm with 1,000 pigs in Osage, now gone. Despite 2 collapsed barns, only 2 pigs lost.
This building had no roof all night, so it's pretty fortunate that's all we lost.
Small communities coming together in big ways.
First thing at daylight, 40, 50 people showed up and helped.
Because what matters is still intact.
It's a lot worse than I imagined, but the house is still standing and I'm okay.
We got lucky. Everyone's alive, so no one got hurt. That's the main part.
And the good news out of all of this tonight is that there are no reported injuries. And despite these grim circumstances, and speaking with residents here today, there's really a feeling of gratitude. One woman said it best: things are replaceable, people aren't. Reporting live in Rudd, Iowa, Barrett Leone, KTTC News.
An excellent point, Barrett. Thank you. Well, a lot of work left to be done in that community, and it is important to always stay weather aware. You can track our Weather Authority forecasts on the go. Download the free KTTC weather app, available now on Google Play and the App Store. In other news tonight, Triton High School was placed in a soft lockdown earlier today. According to the district, a state trooper had someone run away from a traffic stop on Highway 14 west of the school. State Patrol has set up a perimeter around the man who was on foot and believed to have him contained. The district is requesting that any students who walk home go to the PAC after school, and any students who walk home to the west of the building get picked up at door number 1 in front of the high school by a parent. The prosecution rested its case today in the trial of former police officer Kim Potter.
She shot and killed Dante Wright, claiming that she accidentally mistook her gun for a taser. Defense attorney Paul Eng asked for a judgment of acquittal, which is standard at the point in the trial, and called the state's theory a confusing mess. In response, prosecutor Frank asked Judge Chu to deny the motion, arguing that the burden was not met to dismiss the counts against Potter, first-degree manslaughter and second-degree manslaughter. The judge denied the motion for acquittal. The defense then called its first witness to the stand. Well, our team coverage continues in the aftermath of last night's storms.
The National Weather Service has now confirmed 6 tornadoes in our area. We go back to Heartland and Rudd for more updates on the damage. We are continuing our coverage of the damage caused by last night's storm.
That's right. Again, the National Weather Service has now confirmed 6 tornadoes for our area, including one in Freeborn County. So we were in Heartland, which is just north of Albert Lee. Power lines were down. The Arcadian Bank on Broadway Street severely damaged, as you can see in this footage from last night. You can see the roof was ripped off. The Freeborn County Sheriff confirmed that there were no casualties from this, though.
Sporadic damage around the county, but it's mainly in the northwest corner and down in the southeast around Hayward, Glenville, Myrtle area, and over by State Line Road on the east side of the county as well.
Any really significant damage, any injuries?
We have no injuries. We've got some significant damage at residences and farm places. Just about every single house is still inhabitable, but there's a lot of sheds and barns damaged. Here in town, in Heartland, we've got damage to the bank and buildings in the immediate area, and we've got some power lines down in some areas.
And again, so many people woke up this morning with no power. Crews have been working throughout the day to fix the downed power lines.
Meanwhile, in Racine, several structures were flattened in the storm. Sheds and garages were also damaged. Many of those were near the intersection of East Main Street and Pine Avenue Northeast. There were also large trees down in the area.
And we do continue to get more photos and videos of damage in our viewing area. You can go to KTTC our app for the very latest and to see some of the reports and photos. And our chief meteorologist has been helping us track all the damage as well, and he joins us again live from Rudd, Iowa, which saw so much damage last night that the town actually had to close to non-residents. So Nick, what's today been like for so many of those folks in town?
Tom, it's been a busy day cleaning up here across Rudd and really Floyd County as a whole, where we had 3 confirmed tornadoes reach the ground, 2 EF1s and 1 EF0. And one thing I can say, standing here right now, we're in December, it's cold outside. Many are without power. Luckily, I can hear some generators running, meaning some people do have heat in their homes. But if you just walk around or drive around the town right now, this is what we see: downed power lines and downed power poles. This is an entire power pole that is just decimated right now, laying on the ground here, and we have to be careful across the landscape because there's down power lines all across the area. And as Barrett said earlier, it could be several days still before these people have power in Rudd and some portions of Floyd County, and that's not what we want to see because we're in December. This isn't June. This isn't July when we normally have severe weather. We're talking December 15th and December 16th, where we could potentially see some temperatures only warming into the lower 20s in the next couple of days. Now, the National Weather Service, we've been putting together some storm reports. This is one of the largest storm systems that we've had in 2021, with nearly over 270 storm reports across the area. Now, this could potentially end up being classified as a derecho, but it's slightly different than the derecho that Iowa experienced in 2020, and our meteorologist Amanda Morgan explains why. Amanda.
All right, thank you, Nick. And an update, the storm reports are now up to 570 across the Midwest. So a lot of storm reports, potentially the largest severe weather day of 2021. Now, talking about whether or not this is a derecho, let's start off with what is a derecho. In general terms, it is a widespread, long-lived wind storm, but let's get a little bit more specific. What are the qualifications? Wind gusts have to be over 58 miles per hour for most of the length of the storm, and that length has to be greater than 250 miles. That's the length of damage that we have to see. So was last night's storm a derecho? It is likely. Now, this is preliminary from the National Weather Service. They are still surveying all of the damage across the Midwest, but from what they are seeing as of right now, it is likely that last night's storm was a derecho, especially from all the strong wind reports and the straight line wind reports that we have seen. Now, December 15th, 2021 will be one for the record books. Here's some of the records that we broke or tied. We did break the record for the most wind reports of over 75 miles per hour in just a 24-hour period. Over 55 reports of those strong winds all across the Midwest. Rochester International did record its second highest wind gust ever of 77 miles per hour. We did see the first tornado ever in the state of Minnesota. We now have 2 of those confirmed, and Rochester did tie for the warmest temperature ever for December with 64 degrees. That system continuing to move off towards the east. Notice some rain through Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia there. We are quiet conditions following behind that system. You can also see the strongest core of those winds also moving towards the east. So currently gusts of about 29 miles per hour in Rochester, but off to the west, not seeing any gusts reported. So those winds will continue to die down as we head through the rest of the night tonight. Expect winds to be sustained anywhere from about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but those gusts again continuing to die down as we head towards early Friday morning. Future track through the rest of the night tonight, building in more cloud cover, waking up to temperatures into the low 20s and the upper teens. So a cool day ahead of us tomorrow, but pretty typical for this time of year for mid-December. Continuing with the clouds into the afternoon, temperatures into the mid-20s as we head towards early Saturday morning. Notice a little bit of snowfall up towards our north. Goodhue and Wabasha counties could see a few flurries for early Saturday morning, but overall many of us stay quiet as we head in towards Saturday and Saturday afternoon, temperatures into the low 20s. For tonight, 15 degrees for our overnight low, partly cloudy skies. Again, those winds thankfully beginning to die down as we head into the overnight hours here. For tomorrow, Friday, 25 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Overall, a quiet day for us. Light winds out of the north, about 5 to 10. As we look at our 7-day forecast, looking very quiet, thankfully, and very average for this time of year. 23 degrees for Saturday, 27 on Sunday. Also notice no snow chances on the way for us as we head into the next 7 days. So Christmas coming up next Saturday, looking like it will be a brown one for us this year. Mark?
Up next in sports, the Wild return to action after some unexpected time off. We'll hear from head coach Dean Evison, plus the Vikings prepare to make a playoff push. Hear what Dalvin Cook says about his injured shoulder next. What's going on, sports fans? I'm Mark Paulos. Tonight, we saw the sports party at the TCO Performance Center where the Vikings continue to get ready for Monday night's game at the Chicago Bears. The Vikings will continue to lean on Dalvin Cook down the stretch. In last week's game against the Steelers, the 26-year-old ran for a season-high 205 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. Cook knows the team is going to rely on him for their playoff push, and he says his separated shoulder is good to go.
I got to play with the Hornets. Like, I'm not dealing with no pain or nothing. Like, it's over with. Like, you know, when I came back in, got back stronger, got where I needed to go at. Now it's time to play football. Like, I'm not dealing with no, like, lingering soreness or pain or nothing like that. It's just time to play ball now.
As a reminder, the Vikings take on the Bears on Monday Night Football. Chicago will be without all 3 of its coordinators as each are in the league's COVID-19 protocol. From the gridiron to the ice we go, where the Wild look to maintain their spot atop the NHL Central Division. Tonight, the Wild host the Buffalo Sabres following an unexpected 4 days off between games. As COVID concerns continue to mount in professional sports, Dean Evison says the team is going to keep everybody safe.
It's our world, right? I mean, it's not only the sporting world, but everything. You know, we just hope we can all stay safe and we can go about our business, obviously, in the right direction. I think everybody's trying to do the right things. Yeah, I guess it is alarming that it's going again, but we'll just try to stay as safe as we can.
That's what it's Sports News Thursday evening. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Temperatures staying pretty seasonal for this time of year. Mid-20s for tomorrow. No snow in the forecast as we head towards Christmas. Looks like a brown one on the way for us.
Yeah, Santa's not going to be happy with that. Needs a little bit of snow.
Or at least no more severe weather for the extended forecast.